come si chiama?
Luca, what will happen next? I mean, are we going to use this Zoom link all the time, or should there be a new link every session so that it's clear for everyone? Luca, can you hear me?
I'm not sure if I think this Luca usually sets up the meeting for us, and then we take it from here usually.
Okay.
Mi scusi.
I guess we can send him an email.
Okay, so I have to send him an email. Let me just take that down so I will not forget.
Come si chiama questo?
C'è scritto il nome, Mirko, c'è scritto il nome,
Parla
cazzo.
italiano, lei. Di parlare in inglese.
Yes, in English,
ma
please,
non
so
so.
that I understand. Thank you.
Elizabeth at 10:40.
Dr. Liz, Mirko, Dr. Liz, please. My name is not Elizabeth. This is the class. I'm Dr. Liz.
Okay, Dr. Liz. At 10:40 I go out to the lesson.
Can you say that again, please? Sorry.
At 10:40 I go out to the lesson.
So you are going to stay until 10:30.
Yeah.
What's going on? You have an appointment? You have somewhere to go?
No, come si dice? In the house there are the worker.
There are workers in the house. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But make sure, Mirko, that you will watch the recording of the class, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
Dr. Liz,
Yes.
I'm in the hospital, as you said, the last lesson. So, if it's possible, I will listen you, but maybe sometimes I will not be able to participate in. I'm not reachable because I'm in the hospital.
Don't worry
waiting.
about it. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Stay as long as you can, and then if you cannot, then it's all right. Okay, so now
Please, I have to leave for work too. Close to 10:50. So I don't know if that's gonna be a problem.
1, 2, 3. So 3 will be out. So I will be left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I will be left with 6 students. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's all right. Okay. So now that everyone is here, let's start the lesson. Let's start today's discussion with what do you remember from the lesson last session? We cannot move forward with what is the lesson today if you will not tell me what were the learnings last session.
Well, last session we talked about a lot of things. We talked about APA style. Oh God, I'm missing the terminology, but we talked about APA style citations. We moved on to the thesis and the business plan. We had the option between choosing a business plan for our thesis or a research paper. Throughout the lesson, you asked us various questions and gave us some directions onto which would be more appropriate for us, and you're trying to make us use real-world learning. So in my case, it's best if I do a business plan, and in other people's cases, I don't specifically remember who's doing what, but we talked about the different approaches that we need to do for those things. And then we moved on and talked about plagiarism, how you'll run it through, I don't remember the name of the plagiaring site, but there are various.
Turn it in.
And turn it in, which is what I've always been used to. And there is a limit of between 11 and 15%.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Any other ideas from the class? Luigi said thesis and business plan. Yeah, at least you know now that you have an option. If you are not a writer, if you are not into theoretical thesis, then you can opt for business plan. If you are if you want business plan, rather if you are if you want to do theoretical thesis instead of a business plan, at least you know exactly that you have an option. It's also very good, Enrico, that you mentioned about the APA citation, because it will definitely affect the general numbers that the Turnitin plagiarism checker will generate in the end. Okay, any other ideas from the rest of the class? Go ahead.
No, I haven't another idea, but I take my decision. You have give a question for me if I want to do a business plan or theoretical. In my case, I prefer to do it business plan.
Okay, the business plan. Okay. Do you want to do a start-up or a scale-up business plan, Sergio?
Thank you for the correct my name. In this case, it is startup.
It's the scale-up.
Scale up, sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, scale-up. So it's a
Scale up, yeah.
You know the difference between a scale-up and a startup, right? A startup is you're just starting the business.
Yeah.
A scale-up is that the business is already ongoing, but you wanted to improve it. Okay, so you said that you want to do a scale-up business plan. So
probably they are two different methods of travel, because in a startup you need to make every single starter pass and you need to organize everything. In another part, you can concentrate it at the development mark and marketing plan for involve and improve their skills or their service and product to give out to the client. It's completely different travel. I prefer to do it the first because I like to start at zero and to go step by step for arrive at the object.
Okay, so you change your mind. You will now do a startup business plan.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the business that you want to start?
In my personal vision, in this case, it's a series. It's to make a new green line of restaurants. This green line of restaurants, it's idea so to use material really special, because today, for example, we use the animal for transform. This is just an example. Why I want to do it. Farina, ragazzi, mi aiutate come si dice in inglese? Non mi ricordo.
Flour.
Flour, thank you, Enrico. So sorry. Flour by animal or some else and different materials about today probably is considered particular, but tomorrow probably we use all of that. And so I really interesting about this idea. That's
okay,
really
green restaurant.
Of course, yeah. It's just I want to give one example, but it's a correct idea. Green.
Yes, green restaurants, Sergio, meaning restaurants that serves vegan or vegetarian clients, or is it a green restaurant because?
No. It's just to change the material to use it. Not to, of course, can be present all to these ideas, vegetarian and not vegetarian. But in general, the idea about this project is to use completely different other products. To reduce the used material about animal or some vegetables, some type of waters. It's completely different. It's another idea. It's not only green. It's just to think completely around 360 at the material.
Okay, Sergio, I will remind you again. Okay.
Yeah, I need to do a simple and easy project, of course.
No, don't put words into my mouth. That's not what I'm going to say. No, you are completely wrong. What I am going to say is that you have a very big project. So it's because you said earlier that it's going to be a chain of restaurants. So keep it let's experiment on one. Let's make sure that it will work in one restaurant, and then we can talk about chain. Okay?
Okay.
And then you said,
thank you.
yeah, you said you have to listen to me. I know this better than you. Okay? So when you say green restaurant, and you said we have to limit the number of animal products or animal using ingredients, for example, that is animal based, the trajectory of that restaurant is it needs to be vegan and vegetarian, because you cannot say, you know, that there is a philosophy in business right now. Have you heard of the term greenwashing? No, okay. So remember, there is brainwashing and there is whitewashing, and now because
Brainwashing, whitewashing. Yeah, you
this
haven't explained that.
sustainability thing, it's called greenwashing. The brainwashing is, you know, when you say things for propaganda purposes. For example, you say, the United States is the biggest, the best country in the world, and then there's a lot of propaganda about it, supporting the claim that the US is the best country in the world, for example. That is called brainwashing. Okay, the whitewashing is if someone is telling a lie and then you are covering it up. For example, I am saying, I bought a house in Dubai, but you know exactly that is not true. But because you are my friend, you are telling everybody, yeah, Dr. Relis actually bought a house in Dubai. That is whitewashing. You are covering up the lie. In greenwashing, a lot of companies these days are accused of greenwashing. Why? Because they are promoting that their businesses, either they are offering products or they are offering services, they are saying that they are sustainable. You know, we are using recycled paper. We are using recycled whatever. We are recycling. And then when you go actually to the business, what they are preaching is not true. Why? Because if you can see, they are using, for example, Nespresso machines where the capsule is non-recyclable. So how you say
again?
But when you say greenwashing, it means this is, you know, I'm discussing this to help you out, Sergio, because when you say it's going to be green restaurant, everything in the restaurant, 80% needs to be green. Everything. It's the same thing with businesses. If you say you are sustainable business, then you have to prove that 70 to 80% of your operations are actually sustainable. You cannot say that, you know, I am a green company just because you are recycling paper. You cannot do that. I mean, part of the recycling sustainability, for example, is, I don't know if you have seen these Japanese toilets, you know, that the sink is actually actually attached to the toilet seat. That when you wash your hands, the water that you use to wash your hands actually goes in the tank, so that when you flush, it's not a new water, it's used water used to flush the toilet. So that is what we mean by greenwashing. So be very careful, because a lot of millennials right now are actually patronizing, especially this is a tip for those who wanted to do a business plan. Part of your business plan is, for sure, it's sustainability, because right now, the very important thing is sustainability. However, you have to prove that your company is going to, if it's a startup, of course, you cannot be 80%, 70% sustainable from the very beginning. So at least you can say, when I start my business, 30% of our operations will be sustainable because this is what we're going to do. On our second year, 40% of our operation will be sustainable because this is what we're going to do. So you reach, let's say, 80% of sustainability when you reach the 5th year. So that is all right, because at least you have a sustainable plan within a 5-year period. So, Sergio, to give you... Yes.
Sorry, excuse me. I understand. But for you, it's the better idea to distribute my project plan about the 5-year or more time? Because my idea about the green restaurants, it's of course to use and to reduce every single spreco. Cazzo, non so come si dice spreco, però. Ragazzi, come si dice sprecare, per favore?
Waste.
Waste. Okay. I want to reduce every single waste and use sustainable material and sustainable products. I need to understand how much year I need to distribute this project, because my personal idea is the 5 years in general, because the first year to start to confirm about everything. The second year you need to improve and evolve your imaging and your idea of green restaurants. In the third year you can improve and also the better or change something else. It depends, but more or less this is my idea.
Yeah, okay. So I cannot answer right now what is the best plan for you in terms of sustainability. You have to write it down first. First, let's walk before we run, which means
Okay.
put the idea down, slowly build on it, because this is our second session. So I want you to really concretize the idea, because of course we start with very big. And then I told you, okay, you have to keep it small. You have to keep it small. The moment we reach where the title, the concept is really concrete, that's the time we put things in perspective where everything will be clear. So let's do it one by one. Let us build it like a Lego. One
Super. Super.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I did actually have a question, Miss, regarding I'll be doing a business plan on a startup that I am actually in the process of creating. And it's an application. So I don't think sustainability will be something that I have to particularly focus on, but I'm just asking like this, do you believe it would be important for me to either way still have a talk about sustainability, what the people who work can do to increase the sustainability? Like, should I make sustainability, even if it's not an integral part of what my actual plan is, should I make it an part of my business plan?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, actually. Enrico, we have now blockchain technology. So if you are into the development of the app, if you can connect it to blockchain, because I know blockchain, it generates a lot of energy to create a block. That's why it's called a blockchain. You create a block, a square, and then you connect it to one another. That's why it's called a blockchain. However, this app, for the purposes of discussion, when do you think this app will be available for public consumption, for the general public? Let's say 3 years from now, hypothetically speaking.
Okay, hypothetically speaking, if I had the financial resources to say, all right, we can go ahead with this, potentially by the beginning of the not the fiscal year, of the solar year, potentially I'd be able to immediately go onto the market by then. But since I don't have the financial resources at this time, we're looking well into quite a few months from now.
You mentioned about not the fiscal year, but the solar year?
Yeah, so potentially from the beginning of 2024.
Oh, so the solar year, it starts in February.
Oh yeah, it does. I was thinking of like our calendar year, not solar year. Sorry.
Yeah, because the fiscal year is January to December. The reason why it's called, this is actually good terminology. The reason why it's called fiscal year is because it's the end of your the 12-month cycle. That's why it's called the fiscal year. When you mention solar year, that is very Chinese zodiac. Solar year, because solar year starts in February, because that's the Chinese New Year, remember?
Yeah, and I wanted to say the lunar year, because we were in Singapore around that time. So I said, well, if it's not the lunar year, it's the solar year. So that was my logic. It was wrong terminology.
Usually for businesses, sometimes it's not ideal to start in January. You know what I mean? Because businesses are seasonal. There are businesses that are good in January, but there are businesses that are good in other months of the year. For example, that the Swiss School of Management Barcelona is mine. I am a licensee. So I am like Stefano. Stefano owns Brescia and Stefano owns SSM Milan. I own SSM Barcelona. So I am an entrepreneur. That's why, you know, what is good about me is that I am an academic. I can look at your work, Lucas, because you will be doing the theoretical research, but I can also look at business plan because I am an entrepreneur. Usually for businesses, it's good to divide the year, and this is very common in business. You divide the year into quarter. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. For the academic, are the best time to launch our business is actually August. But August in Europe is a dead month. You know, exactly. It's a ghost month, actually. I mean, if you go to Korea and Southeast Asia, August, in Europe, we call it vacation month. If you go to Korea, August is called a ghost month, actually, because for them, it's the time of, you know, all the ghosts are appearing, you know. So in Europe, if you belong to the education sector, the best to launch is August, but August, again, is a vacation. So our academic year starts in September. So if I am launching a school, for example, so September is what? September is on the third quarter. So I will launch my business on the third quarter of 2024, for example. But for in your case, you have question, Enrico? No, okay. So in your case, if you are developing an app, where do you think you are going to spend much of your financial resources? In your engineers, right? Because they have to do the coding. Okay. So once if they would do the coding, and today is November, Enrico, it is a very long shot to start your to launch your business anytime in 2024. The most ideal scenario, last quarter of 2024. We have to be very realistic about it. Why? What kind of, first, I don't know specifically what your app would be, but the coding, it will take time. The testing will take time. How do I know? I have one professor here in Barcelona who actually owns an app called HyperCrunch. HyperCrunch, I will show it to you later for you to understand, it is a social media AI-generated content marketing tool. We just put in there, you know, what's the terminologies or the vocabulary now in the age of artificial intelligence. You know what is prompt? PROMPT, prompt. Okay, so it means you are the one who commands the artificial intelligence what you want the artificial intelligence to create for you. For example, in my case, create a syllabus for research and methodologies for bachelor students. That's my prompt. Okay, and there is a new job today where we say, yeah, with the age of AI, there's actually a lot of people who will be losing their job. No, that's not true. Do not be scared of artificial intelligence. It will replace, people will, they will just be placed into other job. For example, before artificial intelligence, there is no job as prompt engineers. But right now, there is a job opening, which is, you know, prompt engineer. Before social media, there is no job as social media management. There is nothing like that. But because of, you know, social media becomes very popular, now the marketing majors are actually shifting into social media management. And to be more specific, because Facebook has a different market, LinkedIn has a different market. So now you have social media managers, and then it becomes more micro by being social media managers focus on LinkedIn, focus on X, which formerly Twitter, or focused on Facebook and Instagram. See? So do not be scared that the work will be replaced by artificial intelligence. You know, industrial revolution happens so many years before us, and people are still thriving and they still have jobs. See? So back to your question of, should I put it? The reason why I ask you, when do you plan your business plan to start is because if it's going to start third quarter of 2024, which is the ideal scenario, it means who are your major market? Your major market are millennials. And you have to think of how millennials buy products and services. Millennials are buying products and services not only because of the high quality of your product, of your service, but the story you will tell. The story you will tell. For example, me, I am not millennial, I belong to the Generation X. Why am I patronizing Body Shop, even if it's a little costly? Because they don't do animal testing. Because they don't use animal fat. So I am patronizing the product, not because of the product itself, but the way they are produced. So going back to your question, should I put sustainability between this class and me? You have to follow the narrative of the businesses that are successful, because there is a reason why they are successful. You don't have to say, well, I am innovative, I want to offer something new. The question is, have you tested your innovation? Is it going to work? Why don't you imitate or innovate based on what is already existing? Why? Because you have a proof that they are working. Instead of, I want to do this. Well, if you don't have much capital and it is all in your head, your thesis will just be a piece of paper on the shelf gathering dust. You know what I mean? So that's that's for me. If everyone else is doing that and it proves to be working for them, my question is, why would you do otherwise? Okay.
You know, I didn't think about it like that, but it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
You know, it's ideal on paper. The problem is that when you want to implement something that is innovative, nobody has done it before. Claro, okay, given. Question. Do you have the financial capital to put into practice what is in your head? Yeah, wala. That's
Più o meno.
yeah.
I can reach about half of what I need.
Insomma.
Sergio, what did you say?
No. It's just response about Enrico, more or less, diciamo.
Yeah, I mean, the purpose of business is to shorten the ROI, to shorten the return of investment, because you know exactly that when you start your business, third quarter of 2024, probably the return of investment will happen 2 years, 4 years down the line. So if you can have your return of investment in 2 years, why wait 4 years? So, you know, at the end of the day, that is your business plan. Put it into writing and show it to me, and I can tell you these are good points. Continue with this track. This you have to reconsider. You know, I don't usually say this is wrong unless I can actually say that. Why are you allotting this much money for things that you can, you know, you can subcontract, for example, somewhere in Asia, for example. But this is your business plan. This goes to everyone. Whatever topic you choose, either theoretical research or a business plan, you are the expert in that. We, or me as your professor, I am just looking at it from academic point of view. Is it well written? Does it have the parts of a business plan or a theoretical research? So that's my point. But how it will be actually implemented on the ground, or what you really wanted to do, you are the expert in that. Again, I told you, you can write anything and everything you want. The challenge is you just have to defend it. You just have to defend it. And if it's defendable, then you are on the right track. Okay. Any other comments from last session? Andrea, do you remember anything?
I'm sorry?
Yeah. From last session, did you remember anything that we talked about?
I remember for the thesis, sorry, in English, I don't remember the
thesis.
Thesis, okay. And I remember the map for the make the thesis, and in finally I chose my family company. It's a fabric company for the dress. My objective is implement the marketing in my family company.
Okay, so you would like to focus on the marketing.
Yes, and for me, I use the base of the book, The Purple Cow. Do you know?
No, I don't know.
It's a fantastic marketing, because it's a marketing for sorry. Ragazzi, come si può dire? Tipo spiccare, tipo essere straordinari? Come potrei dirlo? Sono un po' in crisi.
Awesome.
Anyone who can help?
Ma straordinari, cioè, ripeti il quesito? Cioè, ripeti la
Avere
frase?
un marketing tipo che ti distingui, il fatto non...
To have a distinguishing marketing,
Ah,
something
ok, thank you.
extraordinary.
Mm-hmm. It's called the purple cow. I have to do research on that.
It's a book of Seth Godin.
Okay. Okay. What is special about this one? What is special about the book?
Special of the book is a book for understand the new marketing, the modern marketing after the time of TV advertising. Because for the book, TV advertising is a past and use the social, use your image for create impressive marketing.
Okay. Okay. So you are going to do a business plan. Okay. Lucas, what's your do you remember what we talked about regarding your theoretical thesis?
Yeah, I remember that it will be like a document analysis, and it will be based on like laws and that need to be analyzed. And yeah, and then I wrote down some things that are necessary to be included to make it like efficient.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Have you thought about it? It's still it is still the thesis and the topic that you wanted to pursue.
Yeah, I like the topic because I've also talked to people, like since I'm home right now, I've talked to people about it, and people think it's a relevant and interesting topic.
Mhm.
And it's something new, like something, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good. At least, you don't change your mind every session, because for me, that's not a good indication that, every session I want to do this and then next session I want to do that. Oh my God, you will not be able
No,
to.
it's something important for me because it's something that I see all the time.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Something that you're passionate about.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, in research, we are always asked, we are always told, you have to be objective, not subjective. Objective is like investigate the fact. But before objectivity, research is subjective. Why? Because you decide what topic you wanted to do research on, and that is very subjective, which it's my choice. I mean, if you tell me, I want you to do a research about how perfumes are made in the south of France. That's something that I am not interested in. It's something that I would like to use, the product itself. But doing a research about how to extract the liquid from the roses, or where is the best time to harvest flowers, that is not within my interest, But if the topic will be something that I will choose, but it's within the area, I will be more interested in who buys perfume from actual artisan. You know what I mean? Artisan are those real producers of perfumes. Because I told you I studied in the south of France. I was in Nice for 6 years.
Okay.
And actually, a large percentage of eau de parfum, I speak French, eau de parfum, they are coming from the south of France. So the base for Dior, the base for, all the most expensive perfume in the market right now are actually from the south of France. I mean, I know exactly if I want J'adore Dior, I know exactly what is the counterpart, which is a lot cheaper. See, so that I will be interested in. So what I'm saying is that in research, it's subjectivity first, and then you become objective later.
Yeah.
Subjective
The first part of the research, the 3 to 5 paragraphs in the introduction.
Yeah, definitely. It's about you.
Yeah.
See, it's about you. And then the question is, When do you become objective in research? Okay, the choosing of the topic, it's you. But when do you become objective? You become objective when you are gathering the data. You cannot, you should not, you should never touch whatever the data yields. Even if you say, this is my question, but I want this question to say yes because it's favorable to my family's business. For example, you're doing a business plan. This question, it should have a yes answer. But then when you gather the data, it's a no answer. So you cannot manipulate the data. This is when you become objective. You cannot manipulate the data when you are faced with the data. That's the time you become objective. You don't touch it. Because it's, it's against ethics in research. Okay, so good, Lucas, that you are on the same page again, at the same page, toujours.
Miss, I just
yes.
wanted to ask a question regarding, obviously you don't change the data. I mean, if the data is 1 million and you can't say 900,000 or 1,000,002 or whatever, but if the data says 1 million, are you allowed, obviously being objective, but are you allowed to take the point of, you may realize that the data says otherwise, and you have to take that into account. You have to say the data says 1 million, it means this, this, and this. But are you allowed to give your personal thoughts on the matter? I mean, if I say every year a million CO2 are emitted by cars, am I allowed to then say, this is true, it is very harmful for the environment? I'm just making an example. It is very harmful for the environment, but at the end of the day, the 1 million, like, am I allowed to draw my own conclusion saying that the 1 million compared to the 12 million produced by ships and airplanes comparatively is a very small number? Like, am I allowed to turn the data with my own point of view towards my advantage, like to say, this is bad, but this is worse, so this is better in a way?
Yeah. That is what we call, you are not actually changing the data, you are comparing it with something else.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So,
to lessen.
Yeah.
In research, we call that to mitigate the effect. Okay, so you will say, okay, this is the concern of Greta Thunberg. Is that the girl Greta? I forgot the last name.
Yeah, Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, there is a criticism about her that, I don't use airplanes because it goes against my principle of CO2 emission and things like that. But then again, there is a criticism that the production of CO2 caused by traveling airplanes is actually less compared to. So this is an example, is saying that, Enrico, you are not changing the data. You are comparing it with something else. So when you compare it to, this is 100 million, but then again, the CO2 emission of all the transportation combined is 7 million. So what is 1 million compared to 7 million? So it put things into perspective. Like, okay, so if we eliminate 1 million, of course you cannot eliminate 1 million, eliminate half of it. There's only 500,000. And still there is 7,000 here. Your effort here will not have a dent in the CO2 emission. That is just an example. The CO2 emission of 7 million, it will not make a dent. See, so when you present things like that, you are just putting things into perspective. It's the same thing with, in research, there is always a control group. If you belong to the pharmaceutical company, there's always a, how do they call that? It's placebo effect. The placebo.
Yeah.
Remember? So, for example, you will be taking antidepressant drug. So one is actually going to take the antidepressant drug. The other one is going to take placebo. Placebo meaning they have the same color pill, they have the same whatever, but it doesn't have the active pharmaceutical ingredients. That's why it's called a placebo. It's playing with your mind. So
yeah, just to see if you have the same effect.
Yeah, and it's funny because I work as a consultant for Pfizer, the pharmaceutical company Pfizer.
Yeah.
And one of course, their best-selling product and most popular and most controversial is Viagra. And I handled the Viagra campaign in the Philippines and in Asia. So when I was their consultant, we had a study about men who are using Viagra and those who are in placebo. It has the same effect.
Huh.
It has the same effect. Why? That's why the Viagra is only used for men who have, this problem because they have underlying medical condition. But if you want to use it recreationally, you don't have any sickness, you don't have any, whatever.
Any problems?
You just want to last longer. If you take Viagra and then you take the placebo, it has the same effect. So again, without eliminating the sickness, it's all in the mind.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is good when your professor has been in so many businesses and so many. I have a lot of how do you say it, work experience before I came into the academy, and even up to now, I am still interested in the economics and the politics and things like that, because I mean, you cannot do business if you don't know the politics and the politics of the region. If you don't know, how are you going to do business in Spain if you don't first? Let's say for discussion purposes, you don't need Spanish. Okay, that's okay. Spanish is a language. But if you come here and do business in Spain, you have to know who we are. You have to know our culture. You know that our shops are closed from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon because you have to respect the siesta of the Spanish people. We eat here dinner 10 o'clock, 10:30. We don't eat earlier than that. If you say, we will have dinner at 7, every Spanish person will look at you. Are you crazy or what? Dinner at 7, are you French? See?
Yeah,
so,
you need to adapt to the environment in which you find yourself.
Exactly. So that is, again, those who are doing business plan, there is a part in your business plan that says environment scan. So that is part of your research. Like, Andrea, you're going to do the marketing of your family business. So what is the environment scan? Aside from comparing your marketing strategy with the closest competitor you have to justify in your business plan, who are your market? Who are they? How do they think? How do they buy? What are the decision point for them? Do they buy because of relationship with you? Do they buy because do they buy from you because you have a long-standing relationship with them? Do they buy from you because your products are really good? So you have to justify. That is part of the environment scan. In your case, Lucas, where you are doing a theoretical research, this part of what the business, what is the environment actually is part of your review of related literature. So you might be doing two things. Some of you, a lot of you are going to do business plan, and some of you will do theoretical research. But then again, the principles of understanding everything around you is very important before you can move forward with a recommendation. Because if you are going to recommend something that, okay, let us help the environment, let us do this and let us do that, the question is, do you have any proof that what you are suggesting has never been done before? Because if it has been done before, what new are you proposing? If it has been done before, then, there's no need for us to do it all over again. Okay, so very good discussion. Any other comments from last session? Nothing?
No,
okay.
miss, I don't think so.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so today is our second session. Okay, so let's start very strong with research vocabulary. Research vocabulary meaning these are the terminologies that are very common in research. I mean, it depends on if you're doing, again, theoretical research or business plan, but these things we use them often. Okay, so in research there is a thing called research vocabulary, and there are two concepts that are called variables. You will often hear this: the independent and dependent variables. Lucas, pay attention because this directly affects your research. Okay, as per the name, independent variables are the variables that can stand alone. The value does not change. the independent the independent variables in some cases can already exist, like age, but it is not dependent on any other variable. The reason why it's called independent is because it can stand alone in itself. It never change. Okay, that's why it's called independent. You will be able to determine exactly what is the difference between independent variable by comparing it to what is dependent variable. So the dependent variable is what the researchers measure to see if it changes as a result of the manipulation of the independent variable. Okay, so this might be very vague for you. So let's go to an exercise. Okay, so this is your research question, for example. This is what you wanted to find out. How does the amount of sleep impact health scores? That's not, sorry. It's not health scores, it's test scores. Okay, how does the amount of sleep impact test scores? For example, we would like to find out if people who sleep more have better test result, or if it doesn't have, it meaning the amount of sleep, even if you don't sleep that long, you can still have high test scores. Listen, we are discussing this in relation to independent and dependent variables. Okay, so let's make number one as an example. So the independent variable in problem number one is time spent on sleeping, because this is what is constant. The dependent variable is the test scores. Why? Because it is the one that has the capacity to change. Let's say if I have longer sleep, I perform better. If I have less sleep, I will not have the amount of sleep. Even if I sleep long, it will not affect the test scores. So this is the one that change. It can be high, it can be low, but one that is constant, independent variable is the amount of sleep. Okay, so we are talking about dependent, independent variables. So the next question is, what is the effect of fast food, on blood pressure? Fast food on blood pressure. So if we are going to determine which is dependent and independent variable, Tommy, look at this. What is the effect of fast food on blood pressure? So what would be the constant and what would be something that will change?
The independent variable will be the effect of the fast food, and the dependent variable will be the blood pressure.
It will be the blood pressure, correct. Why? Because
exactly, the consumption of the fast food depends and can increase or decrease the blood pressure in our body.
Okay, so let's say if there is someone who eats fast food all the time, and then you take the blood pressure. So after a week, you will monitor the blood pressure, and you will say, okay, so you have very high blood pressure because of fast food. However, if the person has strong metabolism, even if there is a constant consumption of fast food, the blood pressure is not affected. So the blood pressure can go high, it can go low, it can be the same. Okay, another example, last one. Luigi, can you participate?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last one. What is the independent and the dependent variable?
The independent is the sleeper.
That's the independent?
I think.
It's the other way around. It's the other way around, Luigi.
Okay.
Okay,
So
the
effect of caffeine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the effect of caffeine independent, while sleep is dependent.
Okay, so the independent variable is the amount of caffeine, and the dependent variable is the sleep. Because I don't know if it's in this class, somebody says, you know that I can drink coffee before sleep at night, before sleeping, and then I can still sleep. See, so the effect of caffeine, it doesn't affect the sleep. But in my case, if I take caffeine at night or after 4 o'clock, I will not be able to sleep. So the sleep is the one that changes constantly. Okay, so another part of the research vocabulary, of course, you're very familiar with citation. You know that the American Psychological Association 7th edition is what we follow at the Swiss School of Management. You have the research methodology. Research methodology is how do you plan to gather your data, tools that you're going to use for data analysis, your scope and the limitation, and what are the specific procedures that you will be using to investigate your topic. So, Lucas, in your case, what are you going to, how do you plan to gather your data? Because you said, you know, we talked about it, that you're going to do a document analysis. So where are you going to get your document? Are they coming from public and government libraries? Are they online searches? Are they newspaper clippings? So that's how you gather your data. It's the same thing for those who are going to do a business plan. Because again, in the first few parts of your business plan, you have to tell us what is your industry. In your case, Andrea, you have to tell us the history of your family's business, including how it started, who are the previous management staff, and who are the people who are occupying higher position in the company. Let's say, for example, it started by my grandfather who started this business in 1908, and this and this and this, and then the president becomes my great uncle or whatever. So that's part of your research methodology, because we have to understand how did you arrive at your position now in your business, and where are you now in the market. Because you can say we started, we are very small, and there are 15 a fabric producer in Milan, for example, and we are number 10. But after 10 years, we are number 7. Until the last survey of 2005, for example, out of 15 fabric manufacturer in Milan, out of 15, we are number 3, for example. So when you identify that you are number 3, that's the only time you can effectively suggest what marketing tool are you going to use, so you will become number 1. But before we can create a positive plan or an effective plan, you have to do the research methodology of how did I get this data, where did I get this data, and then you have to present it. Okay, so the research methodology is applicable both to business plan and both to academic research. Okay, so the research design is either qualitative, quantitative, or mixed method. Lucas, in your case, you are qualitative. Okay, so for those who are, because I believe Andrea is going to do a business plan, Sergio is going to do a business plan. Luigi, are you going to do a business plan? Luigi?
Yes.
Okay, and then Enrico is business plan. Tommy, you're going to do a business plan, correct? Tommy? Okay, so Federico is going to do a business plan.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, also me, I'm doing a business plan.
I was in the bathroom, sorry.
Okay, Tommy, you are going to do a business plan?
So actually, because my business right now is, as you said last time, is a side hustle. So actually, it's not properly a business like a startup. You have to do a startup, create. It's like more a one-man business. So it's more a side hustle. I think about an ecosystem, because I want to create an ecosystem behind that business. So I have a personal holding company, and then I create like all small businesses, and I give him to a CEOs for each businesses. But I can do business plan for that actually. Because if I do a business plan specific on the design company, I already have it, and it's not worth it a lot, because it's not. You don't have to do a lot of investment. You don't have to do, it's like I already have a business plan for that, and it's like I can do that, or I think another things, but it is weird, and I don't know if it's gonna work. And
yeah, so at this point, for this class, what do you plan to do? Do you want to do a business plan, or do you want to do academic thesis?
if I can do it for the ecosystem, so it's like will be a little bit of startup business plan probably. Is a scale up. I don't know. I can do that probably because I don't want to do the research one. I don't like the style. I do like more practice and implementation in practice.
Okay.
And I'm more good at that.
Okay, so again, go back to the question: thesis or business plan?
Business plan.
Business plan. Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, so you have to crystallize what's really, focus on what you really wanted to do, because we only have 8 sessions and we have to start writing about it. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you are very familiar with what is the difference between a thesis and a dissertation. So dissertation is just a terminology for thesis, but for doctorate studies. And then, of course, you are familiar with the viva voce defense, that you have to defend your thesis in front of 3 panel members, including your research director. Okay, so that's the process of the Swiss School of Management. So now, how do we formulate the hypothesis? So these are part of your vocabulary. So you in formulating the hypothesis, the hypothesis or research assumption. Okay, so in your case, Lucas, this is it's called a research assumption because you will be doing a qualitative research. So in the formulation of your hypothesis, you have to be guided by only 2 words, the if and the then. Okay, so example is, if I don't study, then I will fail. It's the action and the reaction. The action is the if plus the outcome is the then. You have to understand the variables in your hypothesis. For example, in your hypothesis 1, you have, if I feed the plant energy drink, it will grow faster. So what is the independent variables here? We talked about it earlier. So independent variable is an energy drink. The dependent variable is it will grow faster. That we don't know yet. If it will have that effect, probably it will die. Why? Because exactly that energy drinks are full of sugar and other chemicals. We don't know if the plant will like it. Okay, so hypothesis 2, if I go to the gym every day, I will develop my muscle more. Okay, of course, the independent variable is that you go to the gym every day. The dependent variable is you will develop your muscle more. We don't know that. Why? Because if you go to the gym every day and then you watch people do their exercise and you don't, then there will be no development of the muscle. Okay, so in the formulation of hypothesis or your how do you call it, or your research assumption, you always have to be guided by if and then. Okay, so for a little exercise for everyone for 15 minutes. Okay, so am I still talking to everyone? Everyone's phone is off. Okay, so this is your activity for today, and it will be graded as 1 quiz. Okay, I'll give you 15 minutes. You have to choose 2 topics from all this, and you have to formulate your own hypothesis. Okay, you have to use the if and the then, the cause and effect. Clear?
Do we have this PowerPoint in classroom if we want to get back to the...
Yeah, I will. Yes, I will upload it immediately after the class because the title of this PowerPoint is class 1 and 2. I will upload this definitely after the class. Okay, so again, formulate, choose 2 topics from this, and then formulate your own hypothesis. You are free to talk.
Sorry, Dr. Liz, I'm so sorry for just a second, please.
Yes. Go ahead.
I have a problem with my connection, and then it's probably I have again this problem. So I'm so sorry.
Okay. Just make sure that every time you disconnect, you connect. I will monitor anyway. I can see who wants to be admitted in the classroom. So again, choose 2 topics and formulate your own hypothesis from this, and then we'll talk about it later. Clear? No questions? The hypothesis is like this. If I feed the plant energy drink, I will go faster. So follow that formula using this topic. Okay? I'll be back in 15 minutes. Now is 11:15. Now I'll be back at 11:30. Okay? Okay.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
Miss.
All right.
Okay. Okay, can we go back and can we discuss?
Yes.
Okay. Who would like to volunteer? Who would like to go first?
I can start. Can you hear me?
Yes, who is this, please? Sorry.
Luigi, sorry.
Luigi, okay. Luigi, go ahead.
Okay. If we use social media in our marketing campaign, then we reach younger generation.
Okay. That's
okay.
one. What is your dependent independent variables?
Independent use of social media, dependent the younger generation.
Okay, we will reach younger generation because probably it will change. Probably that's not true, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. The second one.
The second one, if I'm surrounded by right-minded people, then I will more likely to choose to right choice in the life.
To make right choices in life.
Yeah.
Okay.
So independent is surrounded by right-minded people, and the right choices is dependent.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's
Okay.
that's the purpose of the activity, is for you really to fully understand what is dependent and independent variable. Who would like to go next? Lucas, go ahead.
Okay, so if you start buying products of quality over quantity, then you will have more free time to do whatever rather than making time for shopping. So
Okay.
the independent is quality over quantity, and the dependent is you will have more free time to do whatever rather than shopping.
Okay.
And the second one,
just a personal question, Luca. How do you shop? Do you shop quality over quantity?
well, it depends if I have to buy something without my parents or with my parents.
Oh, okay. So that's the deciding factor. So
yeah, kind of. It's a mixture. Yeah.
Yeah, the independent variable is with my parents, and then the dependent variables is that you will buy more or you will buy less. Yeah. Okay. Next
And
one.
the second one is if you travel a lot and get in contact with people during the journey, then you will broaden your network, and this can benefit you for your life. So the first one, if you travel a lot, this is the independent, and you will broaden your network is the dependent.
Okay. Personal question, Lucas, do you travel a lot?
Normal. I don't know, not a lot. No, normal, I think.
Yeah. What are the countries have you visited?
Most, like, I think I visited kind of all, no, how many countries? I have a list of all the countries, if I remember well, but mostly all of Europe, and outside I have not been yet, apart from
Okay,
Morocco.
have you been to Asia?
No, I have just been to outside, just in Morocco.
Morocco, okay.
So, but mostly Europe. Like I wanted to feel the whole, to be in every state.
Okay, in Europe, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So what about you, Luigi? Have you traveled a lot?
I travel a bit. I was in this year 2 times in Asia.
Which
I
country?
was in before in Singapore and Indonesia, and then I went to Thailand.
Okay, because among Asians, I'm originally from the Philippines. Among Asians, we don't consider Singapore Asia.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I would like also to see Philippines one day.
Yeah, I mean, if you are in the area, drop by. You know, you are living in Europe, and then you see in Indonesia and Thailand, and you know how different Singapore is from those countries.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So if you say I've been to Asia, where in Asia? Singapore. You have never been to Asia. That's our joke. Okay, very good.
I bet we've also been to Bali.
Oh, Bali. Yeah, I've never been.
Indonesia.
I've never been to Bali, but I see a lot of photos. It looks really nice. Yeah. Enrico, go ahead. You're next.
All right, so just give me 1 second. So we've reached, I'm not sure if I did this correctly, because I went on my own tangent. I didn't really use one of the bullet points. I said, if I drive a lot, then I will use a lot more fuel and have a higher possibility of getting into an accident.
Okay. So the cause and effect. Okay, even if it's not the topic, we have the cause and effect. Okay. Identify the dependent independent variable then.
So the dependent variable could be fuel consumption because it depends on how I drive. And the independent variable could be on the basis of the accidents, because it may not be my fault, but it could be someone else's fault.
Okay. Okay, accepted. The next one.
I can go.
You have to have the second one.
The second one. I didn't really think too much about a second one.
Okay. So you're
yeah, if you'd like, I can make up a second one.
Yeah.
Right now.
If you can make the second one based on the topics, the bullet points, that would be great.
Okay, so the second one could be, if I drink a lot of coffee, then my heart rate will increase, and the effect will be me being jittery.
Jittery. Okay, so what is drinking coffee is definitely the independent, and the effect would be heart rate.
Yes.
Increase heart rate. Okay, good. Let's try Serio.
I mean, if you use the social media, probably the effect could be dangerous for your eyes.
Okay, this is staying a very long time exposed to the light. Okay, okay, that's why. What is the dependent independent variables, please?
I have a difficult for make this paragraph because I'm not really sure what the intent about that. You can give me
an example.
Some point. Yeah,
okay.
Just a little bit.
Okay, see, this is the last the slide the slide before before the activity. We said in the formulation of hypothesis, we have to identify the if in the then. So example, this is one. If I feed the plant energy drink, it will grow faster. The independent variable is I feed the plant, that is constant, and this is something that might change depending on the reaction of the plant to the energy drink. So putting this, replacing this with your idea of if you use social media, then you might end up hurting your eyes. So that was your hypothesis. So what is independent, the thing that remains constant, it doesn't move, is the use of social media. Your dependent is it will hurt your eyes, but it might not. So that becomes your independent variable. It is the thing that can change its meaning, it can change its form. But the one that is constant is called independent variables or independent variable. Okay, let's go to your next one, and then let's work on that. What is your next one?
Effects of alcohol.
Okay.
Independent.
No, say the hypothesis first. If.
At the first.
No, you have to state the hypothesis first before we can identify.
If you drink a lot of alcohol, you can't drive. If you drive when you have alcohol in your body, you are really dangerous.
Okay, so let's focus on this, Sergio. If and then. So if you drink a lot of alcohol, then.
If you drink a lot of alcohol, then you can't stay in the street.
You can't, let's say if you drink a lot of alcohol, you cannot walk straight, for example. You cannot walk straight. Well, but yeah. If you, the thing that is constant, what is independent variable, Sergio?
Non ho capito il concetto della variabile indipendente, quello che mi sfugge. I'm not really sure understand that what is the effect of independent.
Okay. Lucas, can you explain to Sergio, probably in Italian, probably he might be able to understand it in Italian.
Sì, allora tu dovevi trovare una causa e un effetto.
Cosa vuol dire then in termini di indipendente o meno? La causa cosa c'è da fare? Sì.
Cioè, dipendentemente da qualcosa, tu otterrai un risultato. E quindi la prima cosa, tu dici, l'ipotesi è bla bla bla, e dipendentemente, cioè questa cosa può succedere o meno. Quindi la seconda parte, l'effetto, è dipendente. Invece la prima parte è indipendente.
Ah, ok, in altre parole, è una frase... Ok.
Cioè, indipendente e insostituibile, cioè se usi social media che se è dipendente invece è qualcosa che puoi variare, può rovinarti la vista, può darti benefici di comunicazione con altre persone.
Ah, ok, grazie ragazzi. Well, so we can remake the phrase about the effects of alcohol. Listen,
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, okay. If you drink a lot of alcohol, you cannot walk in the street.
Okay.
Then you can have a problem with your heart if you not pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, Sergio, when you say if you consume a lot of alcohol, then you cannot walk straight. That is your hypothesis. You don't have to expand more.
It's just simple.
Okay, simple. If you drink a lot of alcohol, you cannot walk straight. My question now is, which one is independent variable and which is dependent variable?
Dependent variable is the effect of alcohol on your body. Independent variable is independent.
Okay.
No, I have the idea. I need just to understand how I can put down the idea. But
I already said that.
Dimmi, Tommy.
No, non puoi camminare dritto, è quello indipendente. Cioè dipendente che hai detto, scusami. Devi dirgli quello.
Dependence, yeah. Okay.
Independence. Go ahead, Sergio. Go ahead.
Yeah. Independence of alcohol, you cannot walk. No, non so come si dice.
You cannot walk straight.
Faccio fatica a dirlo la frase, però il concetto ce l'ho.
Okay. I think, Sergio, next time it's better if you write it down so you will not forget. Okay, I will help you out. So, if you drink a lot of alcohol, you cannot walk straight. That's your hypothesis. So, your independent variable, something that will never change, is the consummation of alcohol. So if you drinking alcohol is your independent variable. Your dependent variable is you cannot walk straight. Because in some people, drunkenness has a different manifestation. You can, if you consume a lot of alcohol, probably you can walk straight, but the effect on you is that, you know, have you seen people who are drunk and they laugh all the time, but they can walk straight. Some can walk straight, but they cry probably. So the effect of alcohol is totally different. The only thing that doesn't change, Sergio, in your hypothesis is that drinking alcohol, it doesn't change. The effect of that then it changes based on the reaction of people. Okay? So that is dependent and independent variable. Please make sure that you understand this, because it will greatly affect the way you write your business plan or your theoretical thesis. Okay, moving forward. Now we go to what are the different types of research. So we have the theoretical research. Theoretical research is you are just trying to understand why a certain phenomenon happens. For example, why do I have palpitations when I drink coffee or energy drink? Am I the only one who experienced this? It does. When you find out why do you have palpitation? Well, probably because of the caffeine. Probably in the case of energy drink, because sugar actually makes you very active. That's why if you have young children, you don't give them chocolates at nighttime, because it keeps them hype. Okay, so now that you understand, well, drinking coffee because of caffeine gives you palpitation, and energy drink because of sugar gives you palpitation. Now you understand that, so that's the reason why I have palpitation. So it is called a theoretical research or fundamental research, because your purpose is try to understand why certain phenomenon happen. It doesn't mean that you are going to implement, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to implement it in your life. Okay, drinking coffee and drinking energy drink gives me palpitation. Okay, so, but then again, I need palpitation in the morning because, you know, I need the energy. So it's either coffee or either I get that from energy drink. So the theoretical research is fundamental research, is a research or an investigation that a researcher does just to try to understand a certain phenomenon, why a certain phenomenon happened. It doesn't mean that you are going to apply it in real life. Okay, so that is theoretical research. In contrast, contradictory to theoretical research is applied research. What is applied research? It is studying a phenomenon to solve a problem in the society using empirical methodology. What is empirical methodology? Observation and experience. When you say, for example, let's say, Lucas, because you are doing a theoretical research, you are going to, I want to apply. No, you are doing a theoretical research and you wanted to do, as part of your research methodology, an empirical research. When you say empirical research, it means first-hand information. You are the one who is going to observe and going to experience through conversation. For example, in your case, what are the sentiments of the people living in your region regarding preserving the land ownership of your area? So when you say empirical research, it's actually you who's going to ask the people about their observation, their comments, and engage in conversation. So you cannot do it using the method that we're using now, document analysis. You cannot do it. It's not an empirical research, you know, because you have to experience and observe the actual phenomenon as it is unfolding. And applied research is, for example, what level of adrenaline people has watching the Monaco Grand Prix, for example. So to be able to understand what is that kind of adrenaline, why are people so excited when they are watching the Grand Prix? How do you observe that? Empirical research. You have to be in the circuit watching all the people. You're not going to watch the cars. You are watching the people who are watching the Grand Prix because you are trying to understand what's going on. What is the adrenaline? Where does it come from? Does it come from the fastness of the car, or the model of the car, or the driver of the car? So this is what we call empirical research. Okay, so example, how to encourage active participation of students in an online class. I will ask you this. And what are the ways to improve the transportation service in your area, for example? So let's, I would like to pick your brain a little bit about what are the tips that you can give me as a professor, as a lecturer, on how to encourage active participation of students in an online class. Because I know exactly, I am not a lecturer all the time. I attend a lot of conferences and seminars where I am not the one lecturing. I am like you. And sometimes if the speaker is like, no, there is monotone, and then there's no exercises, there's no asking questions, there's no breakout rooms, and then there's not even a break, it is very difficult to maintain even an hour of online class. So if I ask you, and this will be very helpful for me, I'm doing an empirical research. Why? Because I'm experiencing your answer and I am observing your comments. It's funny how during an online class, I can see you in your camera, and I can sense that, if you like or doesn't like an answer of one of your classmates, you start on your phone, you're doing a WhatsApp group, you're doing a chat. What is this? If you don't like, or if you like the example of the professor, we also do that, like the professor is talking already for 20 minutes. Can we have a break? When is she going to stop? So I know the dynamics behind the lens, the camera. So I would like to ask you, what are your tips for me so that I will encourage, or I will provide a platform for an active participation in an online class? What is your suggestion? I am asking you now. I'm doing my own empirical research. If it's you, Lucas, what can I do to encourage active participation in an online class?
I think you already said once that we will do like Kahoots and things like this. I think this is already something that increases like participation, I guess. Because if you want or not, you have to be like in the game.
Yeah, very interactive, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the Kahoot, yeah. Anyone else?
Sorry, I was also just going to say that I think either way, regardless of our our interactions in class, I think your classes are already interesting to the point that we don't, there is a lot of class interactions. You're asking us questions all the time. You specifically go and pick us. So I think that there is a lot of class interaction either way, and surely those interactive things that you wanted to implement, such as Kahoot, is a good thing.
Okay, that's very good to know, because it's really, especially for bachelor students, and the topic is research. Can you imagine, we're talking about variables, we're talking about methodology. I mean, I know that some of you in your mind, your question would be, are we really going to use these variables in real life? When we practice and we put things into perspective and we really put it, when we implement our business plan, are we going to talk about what's your research methodology? Well, it might be in another form. The terminologies might not be the same, because of course the terminologies that we are using, that's why I presented to you earlier the academic vocabulary in research. But I'm telling you, you will use it, but in another form. If you know how to ask questions, you will get the right answer. That's why, in the classroom, as the dean of the Swiss School of Management, some of the professors will say, well, 50% of my students fail in my class because they don't understand anything. Well, for me, if 50% of your students fail, that's not the fault of the students, it's your fault. What are you not communicating? You know what I mean? What are you not communicating that they were not able to pass? Because, of course, the level of learning of each student is different. Some topics, the student will get it very fast. Some might, but this student who's getting, the idea about research, for example, about the different types of research, once we talk about specifically research methodology, this student will be struggling. So the level is different. That's why, you have to bear the, I am begging you the indulgence, because sometimes my class would sound like it's a consultation class. Because in a small class like this, I would focus on, Lucas, what is your research? Sergio, what is your research? Why? Because I want you to pass. My aim is not to give you all these methodologies and all this lesson, and then let's have an exam. Define independent variable. That's not the purpose. For me, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. You put it all in writing, and then when I read your first draft of your thesis or your business plan, I should see there, I should read between the lines that you understood what is to be written in each part of the business plan or of the thesis. That's the measure.
I mean, regardless of what you were saying, another part which I find extremely interesting and interactive about your classes is the fact that even before, when I asked about the what was it, the environmental part in a business plan, you know, we went on a tangent, but the tangent clearly explained and defined what I was aiming for. So I also appreciate in your classes that it's not just a simple this is the answer. It's also like an explanation as to why it is the answer, and that makes it, you know, it seems like a small part, but it's actually really important part, in my opinion, to explain what's going on.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. The thing about me being a lecturer is that I will tell you what is written on the books, but I can actually tell you how it is practiced in real life. Because when you do business, if you follow everything that is written, you will not succeed. You will not succeed. There is always, like, for example, taxes. Let's talk about taxes. Can you imagine the taxes in Europe? That's why you have tax haven like Malta, or you go to Estonia, or you go to what is this very small country? Just
Lithuania.
Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo.
Andorra.
That's good. Yeah, Andorra is you know, we are sharing the government of Andorra between Spanish and France. See, so these are the tax havens. So I will tell you, okay, let's do business. Okay, let's do business. Put it in writing. How much do you have? Capital, ROI, statement of account, cash flow, and everything. But because I've been doing my business for a while, I can tell you, write that, because that is what is required by law. But then I will give you an advice that I will deny later, because I know exactly that that is not how it is done. Do that, you will fail. So again, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Everything has been done before. You just look at it from a different perspective. You know, very young students like you are very idealistic of, I have this, I will do this. Once you tasted how it is done in real life, the failure and the success and the betrayal and everything, your point of view in life will change. And I am telling you now, I am not going to tell you, don't do that. No. I am going to tell you, do what you think is best for you, but just be ready for the consequences. Because, you know, in every action, there is an opposite reaction. So in every action, it's like dependent variable. This is constant, but then again, your capital is constant in case of a business plan. Your capital is constant, which is independent, but there's two options. It's either you succeed or you will file for bankruptcy. You know what I mean? So I am here to tell you what is required academically, but on the side, I am here also to tell you that, you know, some things are not how it seems. Okay, so going to the next question. What are the ways to improve public transportation service? I'm sorry, I was in Rome 2 weeks ago and I was in Paris last week. The transportation of these cities is just ridiculously bad.
I do actually have a question just before we go on to that topic, and it's related to the example you were giving before about you know, creating your own data. And you gave us the example about the people in Monaco watching the Grand Prix. Now, it's easy to go to Monte Carlo and look at all the people who are cheering when the Mercedes goes by, or booing when Max Verstappen overtakes somebody. But how do you measure the amount of, you know, actual adrenaline? I mean, what are the parameters that one could use on such an abstract point? So I wanted to ask, like, isn't the data by default inexistent, even if I do look at it?
Yeah. Well, this is where the review of related literature comes from. Because I told you, you don't have to invent everything. You don't have to create everything from scratch. There's been previous studies that has been done in that area, and what you need to do is to look at what research tool they use. Okay, because in research there is a thing called Likert scale. Likert scale is the rating, like how good looking do you think you are, right? From 1 to 5. So that 1 to 5 tool is called the Likert scale. So if previous studies has about adrenaline rush, has used the Likert scale to measure adrenaline, then use that. You don't have to do it from scratch. Look for previous studies and then look what tools they have used before, and then tweak it a little bit, because some probably they use it adrenaline for those who are after the exercise, for example. But then again, the stimulant for them is the perspiration, the weights, for example. That's the source of adrenaline for them. But then if you apply it to the Monaco Grand Prix, the adrenaline, the inspiration is coming from the outside. It's not directly physical. It's coming from the outside. So the manipulator is not attached to the body. So that makes it different. However, the tools you can use is the same. You don't have to invent everything. Look for previous study, copy, cite. You copy and then you put the citation. I am using this tool as I would like to reference Enrico's study on adrenaline because of exercise. You can use it. You just have to cite that it's not yours. It comes from someone else. And that is totally fine in the research. Okay, did I answer your question? Okay, so going to the next question. In your city, what are the ways to improve transportation service? Andrea.
Well,
excuse me?
Yes. Who wants to answer?
Well, I was going to give a few examples of how they could improve it in Torino. Well, one of the ways that they could improve it is in Torino, we have a metro line which only serves about, I'd say, a quarter of the city, because if Turin is a circle, it only runs lengthwise. What would be best if they created another 2 metros in which not only lengthwise but also running down the city. So from I can't remember the name of the area at the top all the way down to Gran Madre, and then a circular line which goes around it and services also the industrial area around the city. This would help reduce the need for a car, as everywhere can be reached through the metro lines, and by having more bus services which work within the circle, let's call it like that, would make sure that to reach from point A to point B on the other side of the city, you have to take the circular line and then a small bus service within it, instead of having independent buses which run across the city for miles at a time.
So can you imagine, Enrico, if you do that as your research, for example, the moment you finish your research and you gather your data and you make your recommendation and you have your findings, can you imagine the richness of that data, and then you present it to the transportation department of Torino and tell them, look at what my research did, and these are the information. So suddenly your research becomes an applied research. Why? Because it is an actionable research. It can be done. Of course, it's infrastructure. It's going to take 15, 20 years. It doesn't matter, because it still belongs to the family of the applied research, because you are encouraging the stakeholders to act on it. Speaking of public transportation, as I told you, I am originally from the Philippines. So our public transportation is okay, especially in terms of metro. And then I was baptized by fire because I lived in New York. And that is the most complicated, mind-blowing metro railway station I have ever seen in my life, I am always lost. I spend a lot of money because I always, you know that in the US, the metro, for example, there is a Fifth Avenue East, Fifth Avenue West, Fifth Avenue Northwest. So if you exit the wrong exit, so of course your ticket is already validated, then I have to go in again, and then I have to look for, you know. So one of the observation also for public transportation in Rome is that how come those who check the ticket, they get in when it's packed, and then they move around to get the ticket of everyone. So apparently it could have been improved, because here in Barcelona, what we do is that if the bus is packed and there's actually ticket checkers, they wait outside of the bus, and for those people who gets out, they check the ticket. They don't go inside and then, you know, squeeze themselves in the public transportation service. So any other suggestion in your city? For example, Andrea, you're in Milan, right? Or are you in Brescia, Andrea?
Yes, I'm in Brescia.
Okay, but Brescia is I have never been. I promise I will visit you one of these days. In Brescia, what's the complaint about public transportation service?
In Brescia, the public transportation is not very good, but it's easy use the car.
Yeah, because I believe everyone in Brescia, because it's a small city, owns a car. So there is probably not much complaint about public transportation. In Paris, I was in Paris, I told you last week. It's funny thing because their metro is very old. And then, you know, the moment that it enters a station, it slows down a little bit. But the moment it slows down, you can actually open the door and jump while the train is moving. That is just amazing, because you know how we are here in Europe, where after security and everything. But I visited Paris once, no, 3 times, 4 times a year, and every time I come, I don't recognize the city anymore. It's really changing. Yeah. Okay, so another type of research is exploratory research. Exploratory is a method that is approached that investigate research question that has not been studied in depth. That's why it's called exploratory. It has been studied before, but not in an in-depth study that you wanted to do. Exploratory. You can use this type of research if you have a general idea or a specific question that you want to study. I mean, this can be your research type also, Lucas. You are exploring. Why? Because probably there's it has been your topic has been studied before, but not in depth, not very much. You know, they just ask a few questions, but nothing really in depth for sure. For example, so your research can also be an exploratory research. There is another type of research that is also called explanatory. So you have exploratory, you have explanatory. What is the difference? Explanatory, it explores why something occurs when limited information is available. It can also be explained as a cause and effect. So in relation to your hypothesis of if and then, explanatory research try to understand this happens because this thing happens in the past. See? So it's cause and effect, while exploratory is I am just trying to understand why things are happening now in terms of this specific topic. So that is the difference between explanatory and exploratory. Okay, so this is self-explanatory. I am going to upload this slide in the Google Classroom so you can have access to it. Then you have the descriptive research. Oh, this is yours, Lucas. It answers what, where, and when, and how. But you can talk about the why, but it is not the concentration of your research. What you are trying to understand is what, where, and when, and how. A descriptive research design, unlike experimental research, you do not control or manipulate any of the variables, but only observes and measure them. Only observes and measure them, okay? So that's descriptive research. The last type is experimental. Experimental is you create a set of procedures to systematically test a hypothesis. So you are doing an experiment. So you have a hypothesis. You say, if you drink a lot of alcohol, you cannot walk straight. For example, that is your hypothesis. You need to be able to call your research an experimental research. Then you have to make an experiment. For example, you will have control groups. Control groups, for example, you will have let's say 5 men, 35 years old and above. And then you have to understand what you mean by when you consume a lot of alcohol. What does it mean? You have to quantify. Because you cannot say a large amount. What is a large amount? Because for me, a large amount is if you give me 3 shots of tequila, that's a large amount already. Okay, so you have to justify that. You have to make an experimental analysis of your own hypothesis. So you employ 5 men, 35 years old and above. You define exactly what is large amount, and then you ask them to consume the alcohol, and then you ask them to walk straight, or you ask them to walk. And then you measure if they can really walk straight after the large amount, consuming a large amount of alcohol. So that is what we mean by experimental research. Okay, so last activity for today. We have another 20 minutes for this. So these are the types of research. Remove the correlational, sorry. Don't include the correlational research. This is not for you. So this is the types of research we have: theoretical, applied, exploratory, explanatory, descriptive, experimental. From the hypothesis that I showed you earlier, you have to decide what type of research best fits your hypothesis. Remember, you created a hypothesis for this, from this, and then from the hypothesis that you created, decide which type of research best fits your hypothesis. And then you have to justify it later on, one by one. Clear? Clear. Okay.
Just one thing.
Yes.
We need to do this for both hypotheses, or just for one that we choose.
Wait 20 minutes. Just one, because we will not have time. Just one, but make sure that when I ask you later on to present, you will be able to justify why you have chosen this type of research from the hypothesis that you created.
Okay.
Okay. 15 minutes,
All right.
not 20, 15 minutes.
See you in a minute.
Okay. Okay, guys, can we restart? Anyone who is here? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Lucas, can we start with you?
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
So my first example was the one of if you start buying quality products over quantity, and I thought, like, initially I thought the type of research that would fit best would be experimental, but then I changed it into correlational, and I think it is, yeah, a correlation.
Correlational study.
Yeah.
What made you think? Because it's quality over quantity. So
Yeah.
the relation between quality and quantity.
Because I thought, because if you buy these quality products, you will then later on have more free time to do whatever, rather than taking your time to do shopping. So it's like a correlation, I think.
For me, of course, we are talking about this hypothetically because this is not going to be your actual research.
Yeah.
But my advice to you, if you want to do quality over quantity and correlational, make it deeper by saying buying quality over quantity actually is it's not only saving time for shopping, but it's actually saving you more money. You know, to have more weight, because the price of one quality product might be higher now, but if you look at it in the long term, you can actually have more use. You know, a bag, for example, if it's quality leather, even if it is not branded, you know, quality doesn't necessarily mean with a brand, you know.
Yeah.
But then again, if you buy this product and if it's quality, it actually saves you more money in the future, in the long run. The only thing is that why do you think quality quality appeals to older generation? Because for younger mindset, you like to spice things up by changing. So, you know, you change a lot. Okay, so for me, it can be a correlational, but not in the form of less time for shopping, but savings for money.
Yeah.
Okay, so correlational is good.
And as a second one, wait 1 second, because my dog it's a puppy, just took a pillow and
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. The second one?
And the second one was if you travel a lot and get in contact with people during the journey, then you will broaden your network, and this can be beneficial for your life. And I thought that this is, I think I wrote down explanatory, but I cannot remember the definition why I chose explanatory. The reason was...
Excuse me, but wouldn't it be more theoretical?
Which one?
You know, if you travel a lot, you'll meet more people. Wouldn't it be more theoretical? Because in theory, that's how it is. But if you can't mingle with the people, you don't understand their culture, if you're an introvert, well, theoretically, yes, you should be able to mix and meet new people, but in reality, not.
But my thesis was already if you travel a lot and get in contact. So I already said that you are gonna get in contact. Otherwise, I think it would be just a theory. But in the moment that I put it as a thesis that you will get in contact, I think it...
Yeah, and you choose explanatory, you said.
Sorry for the dog. Yeah.
Okay, do you remember the reason why you chose explanatory?
Because there can be multiple variables, and
Okay, we'll get back to you later. We'll get back to you later. Okay. Okay. What about you, Luigi?
Well, for social media, I think the most suited type of research would be I don't know. Maybe because for me it's quite defined that social media are used most to younger generation, but it's not a theory. So is explanatory in the sense that you can explain that the younger generation most use social media.
Yeah, Luigi, understand that for explanatory, it's the cause and effect. So if and
Okay.
yeah, so that's actually the perfect type of research for social media as far as your topic is concerned. It's just that I can understand the struggle now because this is the first time that you are encountering these words, and exploratory and explanatory are actually very close to one another. But the best research, a type of research that would fit your research about social media is actually explanatory, because you're trying to explain that if you use social media, what would be the consequence? What is your hypothesis?
That I'm going to reach more younger generation.
You will reach
more,
younger generation. Okay, so that's the cause and the effect. Okay, that's good enough for now. Okay, and then later on we can think about, you know, what others what other types of research can fit. Okay, so Sambaye is interacting through chat. His is experimental. Out of 30 regular alcohol consumers of at least 20 years, how many of them experience liver complications? So that is experimental in terms of the theory of alcohol consumption. It can also be in the other one about some bias hypothesis is, how does traveling and learning new culture be beneficial to the development of one's soft skills? So correlation, the correlation between traveling and soft skills. Sambaye, I will tell you one thing about soft skills. You know that politically correct, they are not called soft skills anymore. Okay, the soft skills is your communication style. You know, they are not soft skill. They are not called soft skills anymore. They are called essential skills, just to be politically correct. You know, those are the terms that we use. But I understand what you mean. And these are actually very good example. Oh, thank you for participating. Okay.
Thank you.
Federico, any comment? What about you? Federico. Okay, next.
Excuse
Tommy,
me, Federico or Enrico?
Federico Marcini.
Okay.
Now, Tommy, go ahead. You go first.
Yeah. So as my hypothesis, I put that if you use social media, you live less in the real world experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So because thanks to the social media, you are allowed to see every place in a picture and in a video.
Mm-hmm.
And but you see that place like 1,000 times, and when you go in the real experience, you ruin the experience because of the social.
Okay.
So that's the hypothesis. So is a social media and perception of the real world experience. And I put that in the explanatory research. Because you aims to understand the relationship between the cause and the effect of the relationship.
Okay. Okay. Good. The other one?
The other one, actually, I do the travel.
Okay.
So if you use traveling as a benefit, you will increase your knowledge in different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
and I put that as applied, could be applied and theoretical, both of them.
What did you use? The type of research?
Applied.
Applied. Okay, so because it has something to do with traveling. Okay.
Yeah, because if you experience, you know, that things, you understand more the cultural.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I have that vision, but it could be theoretical too.
Yeah. I told you, you know, you can approach different topics depending on how you want to study it. You know, we are talking about dependent and dependent variable. The topic is the independent, and whatever type of research you want to apply, you can study all your topic depending on how you want to approach it. The purpose now for me is to listen to you, how you can justify why you choose that certain type of research.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Tommy. Andrea?
Okay, yes.
What about you?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yes, we are talking about what type of research best fits your hypothesis. So what have you done?
I don't know. Sorry.
What was the hypothesis that you did earlier? Was it about social media? Was it about drinking coffee?
L'esercizio di prima che abbiamo fatto. Hai fatto le due ipotesi.
Sì, collegato. Ok, perché. Scusate,
devi dire che tipo di ricerca hai fatto per quell'ipotesi che hai detto prima.
Okay, and for me is you have a healthy social life. No, sorry. You have a benefit of traveling, and you have a healthy social life.
Okay, so for the benefits of traveling, what type of research are you going to use to understand the benefits of traveling?
Experimental.
How do you intend to do that? Oh, that's new to my ears. How do you intend to do that?
Experimental because I try to go in Singapore for 1 month, and I know a new people and no, yes, is sorry. Because yes, I try to go in Singapore and I know new people and healthy social life.
Yeah, but what makes it experimental? Is that an experimental on your side to try to eat new food, try to be in a new environment? Is that the first time for you to go to Singapore?
Yes.
Okay, so actually the benefits of traveling, the best one suited. Experimental can be, but it will be very complicated for you to defend. I believe the benefits of traveling, it fits the descriptive type of research because you are describing why is traveling beneficial for you. When it widens your horizon, you meet new people, you try new food, you see different architecture, you smell different type of air, for example. So experimental is okay, but if you want to do a better research, you have to tie it up with descriptive. That's my suggestion for you, Andrea. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. What about you, Tommy? What do you have?
I already did it.
I already did. Sorry, Luigi.
Before Andrea.
Yeah, Luigi. Sorry, Luigi. If you can still connect. Okay. What about Sergio? Sergio, are you still here?
Yes, but non l'avevo già fatto prima anche io, mi sembra. Ah, no.
What is your hypothesis from the earlier hypothesis that we did earlier? I believe you have chosen effects of alcohol, what type of research are you going to use to study the effect of alcohol and justify?
I mean, in this case, I have theoretical because I see sit web of many doctors and school about medicina. That's it.
Can you explain that a little more?
Sorry?
Can you explain it a little more? I didn't understand. Can you explain it a little more?
I just see the rule about
Okay. Sergio, are you still here?
Yes, sorry, I have a little bit problem, but don't worry. No, I see just the document about the doctors to stay on web and the schools of medicine about the reglement of alcohol and the effect can have on your body.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
That it's theoretical for that.
Okay. Good. So you want to study the effects of alcohol from a medical perspective. So you want to understand that, this is what alcohol does to your body, specifically to your brain, to your liver, to whatever.
Yes,
Okay.
of course, can have more effects.
Okay, perfect. Okay. And Federico, are you connected now?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I choose to connect the benefits of traveling and having a good social life with a correlation, because I think that if you have time to travel around the world, you have also the opportunity to know new person, new cultural differentiation, like traveling in Asia, in Africa, in South America, and maybe you can trust new food taste and new person.
Okay, perfect. Is there anybody that I didn't call? Enrico, did I call you? Enrico is not here.
Yeah, it's up to me now. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Took me a second to unmute. So on the hypothesis that I made earlier, now, even though the other hypothesis regarding the car was not one of the exercises, but I will include the type of research regarding instead the coffee that raises your heart rate and all these things here. I would go with experimental because you need to experiment to see if 1 cup of coffee changes your heart rate by 10 beats per minute or 20, while 5 cups of coffee has more of an effect, or if there's a limit, so it's more of an experimental thing, because it also depends on the weight, the height, the size of the person in general. So there needs to be a good sample size. That's why I'd go with experimental.
Which is actually, because actually it's good, because here we just say drinking coffee, but there is no qualifier. Qualifier like how much coffee are we talking about?
Yeah, because it depends. For me, I drink 5 or 6 coffees throughout the day, but it depends on the day, so the effect is different. And maybe you drink 1 cup of coffee, and the effect is more because you don't have as much in your system already.
Yeah, it's like you become immune to the effect of caffeine.
Yeah, it's like nicotine. You smoke one, but then you want to smoke another because you need to feel the same amount of nicotine.
Exactly.
So you smoke more and more to reach the same level of satisfaction.
Okay, perfect. So actually, the purpose of this activity for today is actually for you to understand what are the different type of research, and for you to be able to critically formulate a hypothesis, because a research is always dependent on what are your assumptions? Why are you studying this? Why do you want to do a business plan in this? There is always an assumption that if I do this, this will be the result. And the result for you is that, of course, I have to do the thesis and I have to do the business plan because I need to pass. But then again, your passing is not only dependent on the viva voce, but the content of the document that you will submit by the end of this course. Okay, so wrapping up our class for today, I am going to upload this PowerPoint as soon as I can. Give me like 30 minutes, 1 hour, and you will see it in the Google Classroom. And then the activity that we have for today is actually graded as one activity. Okay, so your participation, I take note of your participation, and you will see your first grade for this activity or for this class in the Google Classroom. I have posted an assignment, 2 videos that you need to watch, and this will be the center of our discussion in our next session. And then after that,
Miss,
yes.
Miss, for the participation of today, have you seen because I was in the train and I had to communicate through messages through the chat.
Yes.
So I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I see it because you participated like 11:30, then 12:30. I can see it from I screenshot the conversation, so I have it. Okay, and I know that you are participating. So you have the assignment for next session, which is the 2 videos. And then ladies, no, there's no ladies here. Gentlemen, I need you to start writing your thesis and your business plan. Okay, I will give you, we have an assignment already for next session. Today, this afternoon, I am going to give you an assignment that you have to start writing, because you are going to submit to me the first draft of your business plan, and I will tell you specifically, and your thesis, I will tell you specifically which parts that you need to submit. Okay, so start finalizing all these concepts in your head. It's time to put it into writing. Okay, so thank you for your active participation.
Sorry, Miss, I've just a really quick question. When is the deadline for send you the first part of our business plan?
I will send it to you. I will give you instruction in the Google Classroom. Okay. So thank you for today, and I'll see you next session.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you.
Next time.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Next
Bye-bye.
time.
Goodbye.